I don't know if you guys can hear me or not. You know, I see these questions popping up, but you can't answer them while you're driving. And when I X out of it, the questions are gone. So I don't know how the hell you do that. Now, if you were still, I guess you could do it. But, you know, walking or something. But they come across the screen and you can't even see what you're filming. Now, this is the area where I've done the interviews with the girls. And as you can see, as we cruise down here about the next 4 miles, you're not going to see anybody walking. This is West Jefferson going east in the southwest section of Detroit. This is like the world's biggest indoor produce hallway. It's a wholesale deal. A lot of people think this hamburger place is really good, this Mott's. But I had one a couple times. I didn't think it was that good. It's only open during the daytime. This area has really been cleaned up. This up here is Detroit Southwestern High School. Look it up on Google. It's really an architectural gem. It's just basically abandoned, junky now. It was a state-of-the-art high school for a long time. We get up here as we go further east. All these vacant spaces were old buildings you'd see in the interviews I did with some of the girls. All been torn down. But a lot of the women would walk up and down around here and further down. And you don't really see anybody walking. A couple of people waiting for the bus like that guy. You know, when you start this live, like it wants you to take a thumbnail to yourself. I just can't get myself to do it. It just seems so stupid. See all these buildings that used to be there? It's all vacant land now. Right up here, there's this small building. Right here, this last clinic that's abandoned. Right across the street there is where I did most of the interviews. Nothing there. Practically all the businesses have been closed down. There's there's one bar on this strip. I never see any cars out in front of it. These people are waiting for the bus. See, this has been this way forever. Bars on the window. It's another building. You'll eventually see these taken down. You can see the RenCen down there off in the distance. It's the only high-rise building in Detroit. I don't know how people get alerted to this live thing. see this bridge that's going across. That's the Ambassador Bridge. My dad worked on that, actually. And you can see how busy it is. That's why they're tearing down a lot of these buildings. It's for the new bridge, the Gordie Howe International Bridge. They've already started the infrastructure, but I guess the bridge won't be ready for 5 years or something like that. See all the trucks? The bridge is really for Canada. It's not the United States. Their commerce depends on it. And it just takes forever to get across it. It'll be like that till midnight. These are all buildings were torn down. That's St. Rita's Church over there. Gorgeous. This is a building, this old copper and steel building is in litigation right now with the guy. This is a new restaurant, last 4 years, Johnny Noodles. This is heading towards downtown. I don't know if you can hear this or not, I hope you can. I don't think this cell phone, it's a Samsung S8's that great either. It seems to get dark easy when it shouldn't. This is a little mini police station up here on the right. A lot of new of these brew pubs here. Here's one right here, Porter Bottle Company. So I'm cutting down, this is 4th Street, and I'll be cutting down on West Jefferson. It doesn't go all the way through, which is, okay, there's a lot of buildings and stuff. It's really calm today. Wish I'd see some freighters. It's beautiful. Not a ripple on the water. That building right over there, that was vacant. It's all been refurbished. I don't know what's in there. They look like office buildings. I mean, office units. So this is where you would come down around the river. Down at the very end, a lot of people fish. There's a little ripple on the water now. This is kind of coming the back way to downtown. That's Windsor, Ontario over there. I think it's really nice. And this is, I'll be coming up to the old Joe Louis Arena. They're tearing it down. That's how I know I'm getting old. I got a tour of that when it was being built. Now they're tearing it down. Yeah, here's a big freighter down here. This is the Renaissance Center, this big tall GM building. These are, I think they call it the Marina Plaza here. These tall buildings, they're the only nice condo apartments on the entire riverfront in Detroit. They've had their problems. I know they were breaking into cars in the parking lot for a while. Like they rip off tires from like 80 cars. So we'll be coming up on the old Joe Louis Arena. I can see these messages popping up here, but I wish somebody'd send me a message if they could hear them or not. But I can't answer them because I'm driving. And like I said, they disappear when I stop filming. So this is a pretty good shot of the Renaissance Center. I think it's a beautiful building. I remember when that was built too. So right here is the old Joe Louis where the Red Wings played. Right here. It's right there. See, they've taken letters in here. Detroit, like I'm sure most big cities, the speed limits are low. All the way out to the suburbs. Like right down in here, 25, 30, 35. I bet you'll see unmarked cop cars. Because this is an area they really patrol. That's the People Mover track. Got to Google that too. That was a complete flop. So this is coming up on the south side of downtown. Detroit really has a very small downtown. There's the Renaissance Center, which is GM's headquarters now. Yeah, I'm going to have to fix that thumb thing, because when I do a live broadcast, it always looks like, you know, something blurry or chopped off. That's because I have to start it, avoid the thumbnail of me, and then switch the camera to point away from me instead of towards me, so it just looks like shit at the beginning, like the rest of my videos. If anybody hears me, send me a little message. I'll see if it pops up. You should be able to hear me, I think, but maybe not. So, as I said, there's the RenCen. That's the county building over there. This is Hart Plaza right here. Oh, I see somebody just sent a message. I'm not sure you can see the chat. So I don't know how you chat. It must be when you're home. So we're coming up here. That's some more track to the People Mover. Now right here at the foot of Woodward, which is right here, this is what splits East and West Detroit. So now we're actually heading, we're on the east side of Detroit because we're east of Woodward. So I'll get down here a little bit. I'll see if I can get down here along the water and see that big ass freighter. There's a Speedway gas station over there. I was there one night a couple years ago. The guy got shot in a Santa suit. Detroit's loaded with big, beautiful churches. About half of them are mothballed. And, oh, you can hear it fine. Thank you, Crystal. I don't know about this live. I guess it's kind of cool. You know, I've never watched a live on YouTube. I guess it's okay. It's just, I don't think it's that great of, like, vision. Like, if I was using my camera now, which I have with me, I would zoom in on this. And I could do it here, but it gets all grainy. Guess maybe I'll just need a better phone. I mean, is this live interesting? I don't know. So I'm coming up here. It's funny, on this east side around here, it's kind of a mixed bag on reviews. The east doesn't seem to get the attention that the southwest side does. Down here, Detroit has slowly gotten funding for a long walk. If you can believe it, they haven't had them in years. And there's been a lot of sponsors. And down here is where they have some of the outside venues. Down at the very end where you see these tents. You'll see those when I do some filming from along the riverfront. So we'll come up here. See, it's dark now, and it really shouldn't be. These people excited to get out of work, not even looking. So this is the waterfront. I was going to see if I could see that big old freighter, but I don't. It's kind of hazy now. So I don't think this is going to work out. See this parking. Parking in Detroit's getting to be a huge problem. They put these, the roads were never really wide enough to accommodate bikes, but they came up with these bike lanes, which is good, but it narrows the lanes too much. See, these are some old vacant buildings, and it's right near downtown. I mean, I don't know what they're going to do with these. There's always plans about, you know, making places, building, you know, affordable housing and stuff, but this is really kind of hung around when everything else has been redone. So that's kind of a cool looking building now. The days of the abandoned buildings are pretty much over. The schools, you know, they have their own police department. They'll arrest you in a heartbeat if they catch you in one of them. In all the big buildings like that I'd been in, that I did videos on, they welded the doors shut. did everything else they could to keep people from going in there. And you know, people, it's actually a Jeopardy question. They want to ask what country is directly south of Detroit, and I've only seen one guy get it right, and it's Canada. Windsor, Ontario, right across the street, right across the river. So we're actually going north, but people get mixed up a lot. I think I mentioned before that I have a pilot's license, and when you get down around Detroit, when you're coming up from a suburb, it's north-south. Then as you get to the downtown area, the river turns east-west, and there's an airport just to the northeast of here, and constantly VFR pilots would get lost. They'd be down reporting the wrong way because they thought they were going north-south when they were going east. But it's hard to believe you get a pilot's license, but it happened all the time. So now we're on the east side. Now the east side, as far as crime, is much more prevalent if you look at the stats on the Detroit Police Department's website. Now up here, somebody was asking me a couple weeks ago, they wanted to see a green light. Well, here's a green light on the top of this mobile sign right here. What that is, you know, Detroit was really pretty sparse with police coverage. And people were afraid to go into businesses because, you know, the crime was high. They were afraid of getting carjacked, robbed. And that green light program is actually a monitored camera by the police department that you have to pay for if you're a business owner. It's crazy. You're paying high taxes anyway, and then you got to pay for a camera to get police to watch your property. It's nuts. From what I've read in the studies, it hasn't kept the crime from happening like they thought. You know, these guys wear a mask. Who gives a shit if they're watching it? Let's see. So I hope I'm not boring the hell out of you. But if you've never seen Detroit, I'm going to take you into the bad neighborhoods. If you Google Detroit gangs, they claim the east side and the zip codes that I'm going to be going to are where all the heavy gang activity is. And if you look at the federal indictments, I tend to believe that's true. But I've been driving around here for my whole life. I've been doing photography forever and video only for about 12 years or so, and then YouTube came along. I mean, I'd be doing this same thing even if I didn't have a YouTube channel. I mean, if you look at my stuff, it's pretty raw. I just don't take the time to video it like I should, or edit it like I should. It's just so boring. And they all look alike. So I just push the record button and start driving. So up here, this doesn't look bad. See these lanes on the right? Those are the bike lanes in extra parking because none of the businesses could make it because you couldn't park. Although there aren't a hell of a lot of business out here that made it anyway. So I'm heading towards Belle Isle. I think I'll do a trip around there maybe. Hope you won't fall asleep. Belle Isle's a beautiful park. The city of Detroit had it forever, like 100 plus years. It's got a rich history. It's Belle Isle, B-E-L-L-E, then Isle. And they just ran it into the ground, the city did. It was a dump. You drive out there and get murdered. I used to fly over there at night. You could see where cops had people pulled over all night long. It's a speed trap now. I should say speed trap. They're controlling the speed so people don't get run over. It's 25. That's another place you get a ticket. So I'm coming up to Belle Isle here. Right across from Belle Isle was the last big boy restaurant that existed in the city of Detroit. That was torn down. And I see they have a Church's Chicken there now. You go into these Wendy's, most of them, Church's Chicken, they'll be plexiglass. Oh, hey, why is this road closed now? Better not be closing this. I hope it's just the entrance ramp. Yeah, they better not tell me I can't get on Belle Isle today. I might not be able to. It doesn't matter that much anyway. But it looks like they've got this entrance ramp closed. Although, how in the hell are these cars coming out of there? I couldn't get on. And my college degree is paying off once again. I've narrowed this down that there must be another way to get in there. The old PI read. So if anything you guys would like to see, let me know in this live. What I like about this live is you just start filming and no uploading, none of that. Because usually I would go home and upload this stuff, and now I'm doing it live and it uploads on its own. Now let me see if I can turn here. Yep, I guess you can. Yep, good. Now I don't know how it is in your city, but people get hit on bikes quite often here. When I was living in Chicago, if you get killed, they will put a white bike and tie it to a pole. And if you see over across there, there's a white bike. Somebody got run over and killed. You'd have to be out of your mind to ride a bike on these roads. Okay, this is the Belle Isle Bridge. And this is like a famous park, as I said. The state took it over. It's beautiful now. C-25, they're not kidding. You'll find the Department of Natural Resources out here, the DNR, enforcing the traffic. Another thing I want to bring up is, you know, they talk about all these gangs. I had gangs one time approach me down in southwest Detroit, where I'm always at, around Delray. And what they would do is they'd block off the road for about three miles. I've actually seen the police department and the fire department witness them turning it into a drag strip. And they came up to me and they already knew I had a YouTube channel and asked me if it was video, and they were nice. Please don't put this on YouTube. And like, no problem, man. And I didn't. But as far as these, like, it's not like you think. I mean, a lot of these gang members, they work regular jobs. I know they work colors and stuff like that, but it's not that apparent. What happens, they'll catch somebody with a big load of cocaine or heroin, and then they'll start ratting on people, and that's where they start getting them in places where you never see them. Now this is going to be kind of overexposed, but it won't be long until I make the bend. Yeah, it's really a lot more foggy than I thought. I have a yearly pass that you can get into places. So there's the Ren Center. Now we're on Belle Isle. Over there. It's beautiful here. Nice place to fish. Tons of parking. Now I've been over here 2 times and seen people on bikes get hit, so it still happens. So there's the Renaissance over there. Another thing, the scale of buildings. That's Windsor, Ontario over there. And there is the famous water fountain. It's beautiful in the summertime. A lot of historic buildings. So I don't know on this live, I don't know who would be like able to watch it in the daytime. It seems like most people would be working. A lot of great places to park, read a book. Now I don't know if I'm gonna, it takes you like, I think, 6 minutes or something to go around this. Not that much. A lot of wildlife here, tons of swans all over the place. Here's 2 up here in this pond. I've seen 100 swans together. They're beautiful when they fly too. I tried to get some this morning, but camera wouldn't. You'll see those swans in there eating. See, they got their heads stuck down. They'll be there all winter long. Light, thin film of ice on these inland water places. So they've been getting cold weather here as well. This is the Dawson Great Lakes Museum up here. Pretty neat. You know, when you're from a place, you don't go into these museums as much as you think you would. I mean, visitors go to it more than residents. It's a great place for jogging. This is also where they have the Grand Prix racing, and people are pissed off about it. There's the Arboretum at Belle Isle, right there. Like I said, this is a huge speed trap. They'll be hiding behind some weeds here someplace, which is good. Till you get it to great space here. And I noticed comments, like they'll pop up and then they won't pop up for a long time, so I'll have to check that out when I get home. Oh, here's somebody writing a thing. You don't see gang members out that much. I don't even see them at night, to tell you the truth. You know, of all the hours I've been downtown in buildings at night, some places, I have never walked up on somebody spray painting. Not once. And there were times when I'd sit in those buildings and videotape stuff just to see what was going on in those neighborhoods, sit up there for a few hours. Still never saw people painting. It's almost like those guys are psychic. If anybody's around, you don't see them. Let's see. Here's this cell phone. After I finish this loop, I'm going to go over, which is supposedly where all the worst neighborhoods are. Pull over up here in a little while so I can read these messages. It's the Belle Isle Yacht Club there. I think one downside to this live stuff is there's a lot of not that great video in between like the pretty spots. Yeah, it's pretty hazy. So I'm going to end this, and then I'm going to wait about 5 minutes. I'll be out of here by then, and I'll start up the video on the east side.